know a lot more how to handle the media equipment. For example, before I didn't really know how to handle with like the lights, because we had 3 really big lights that we had to position in different places, and now I feel like I can work a lot more confidently with them. Actually, me and my group did have a bit of trouble with the lights because we had to work in a really small room for the girls' part, her getting ready, and we found that there was a lot of shadows, so we did have trouble kind of where to position the lights, and because it was a lot of shadows. So by kind of practicing a couple of times, we started to get the gist of it, and we felt more confident in where to position them. Also, in terms of continuity editing, I learnt how that works, because we actually didn't really think about that at first, and because we filmed it over quite a long period of time, obviously some of the things we've originally put down we would have just changed. So for example, for the girl's part, when she had like loads of makeup on, the next time we wanted to film that, some of the things were missing, so when we kind of went back to watch it, it just felt really weird, because 1 minute there's like mascara and lip gloss, and the next minute it's just gone. So obviously we had to pay a lot more closer attention on making sure that everything is exactly in the way it was before, in order to make it seem realistic, make it flow coherently, and to make it like a proper movie, and what they would do. Also, in terms of editing, I feel like GarageBand was my weakest point, but because music for us was very challenging, because we had to create a lot of different party music for our sequence, and that was quite challenging, because it kept sounding very club-like, and that's not something we wanted to, because for our target genre it was all quite it's a bit cheesy music, but we didn't want it to be too cheesy. So we had to create quite a lot until we got it right. So I had to do about 3 or 4 before we actually, created our final music piece for our video. So obviously that was quite challenging, and I had to experiment with different loops, and added things such as drums, but we didn't want it to be too kind of rocky, but we didn't want it to be too cheesy. So it kind of had to be a balance between different loops and sounds, and this involved looking at a lot of things that coming of age film genres used, and we did want to do some copyright music, but I thought that it would be much better if we used our own original music, just because it would have been more creative if we used our own. We wanted to be specifically for what we needed. And so we did have quite a lot of, we worked hard on our music, and we also found that in order to show the transition between, the time difference between him and her entering the party, we showed that by using lots of different music. So to show the time difference between her getting to the party, we had to demonstrate that through music, and so by showing the different types of music, we showed that she obviously is arriving a lot later in the party, and the time difference has been shown through music. So I learned that you don't have to convey everything to the audience through dialogue, but you can just illustrate that in another way, such as through camera work or through sound, and in this case we demonstrated time difference through sound, and the way we portrayed that. Also, I think live type was quite a big challenge for me, because I've never really used that in much detail, except from like GCSE, but very briefly. So I think I did actually find that quite easy. It wasn't that hard to, we looked at a lot of styles and how, typical coming of age romantic movie genre would have their titles and their credits, and I learnt that you have to experiment in order to, you can't just get it right the first time. So the first time we actually just had a black canvas and just white writing on it, and I just thought, that's not something I would particularly be interested in watching if I was the audience. So this meant that I just had to fiddle around with live type, and I just kind of started making the letters bigger and smaller, so it's kind of like playfulness. It really kind of adds to our genre, which is that, you know, just, it's not really something to be tension or suspense like a horror movie. It's something to be really relaxing, very light-hearted. So I think that really, all the different colours we had a lot of like red and orange and yellow, which was also again really happy colours to kind of really add to our genre. So by having a couple of goes at that, me and my group did become more confident in using that. And yeah, I think that was quite successful. And in terms of editing our sequence, again, I think like I got more confident with using that, such as importing clips in, editing them, trimming them. You have to get it exactly right. You didn't want to waste a lot of time, because we actually had quite a lot of footage. Like it was too long. It's like 3 minutes. So, but you know, cutting some things up which were not needed, that can really kind of build the tension up. So. During the intercutting, it was really quick shots to kind of emphasise the speed and to kind of build the tension up. So, and also after, I also learnt, you know, rendering the clips after. I didn't really know that. So it's all these like little things which you can do, such as I was actually worried about the lighting in the party scene because it was really dark. So again, things like adding light and into making the scene seem realistic, and also Ruby's face in one of the scenes where actually you can see quite a lot of her face, and this wasn't something we wanted, because we wanted to make her face like we didn't want the audience to see her face yet, because obviously to create that kind of tension of what she might look like.